All right. Well, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone, and this is Thursday at 5 p.m. And this is when we do our Q&A. This is a really special one. We're doing a few different things, and we've got some really cool things to announce and share. I've been working on some stuff behind the scenes around here at Dylan Talks Tone, and it's time to share that stuff with you. So I'm super excited about it. A little different setup today because one of the things we're going to do after we do some Q&A stuff from Patreon is we're going to open that box right there. And we're going to talk about what's in that box in just a few minutes. So today is Thursday. It's after 5 o'clock. We're in the middle of a crazy rainstorm, wind. It's insane. So if the internet's a little bit sketchy and we get a little jittery, bear with me. If it cuts out for a second, just we'll try to come back. You know what I mean? Like, just hang in there with me because, like I said, it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds and like ridiculous weather all day today. So if you're new to the channel, we're a guitar tech channel. We talk all about guitar tone, guitar tech, all that kind of stuff. And if you've seen the pre-recorded videos that come out on Mondays, it kind of gives you an idea. But this is more of a way to just hang out and interact with you, all the viewers from all over the world, and just say hey and answer some questions and talk about some, stuff that we've got going right now at Dylan Talks Tone, which is really important and really cool. So I'm very excited about it. I'm actually having a cocktail tonight, so hopefully you are as well. I'm actually drinking Bowmore tonight, 12-year Bowmore Scotch. It's not like the most amazing in the world, but it's really super peaty and really woody flavor, and I really like that peaty, smoky flavor. So, do me a favor and say hello and where you're from and all that sort of stuff. And because where you're from is going to be important in just a few minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into some of these FAQs that we get through Patreon. So basically, the way this works is you can put questions on the post on YouTube. But a lot of times we don't get to all of those questions, and you can also put them in the chat live right now and put me on the spot and ask me anything about anything. But a lot of times it kind of goes so fast that I don't get to all of them, which might be the case today because we've got some special stuff going on. You can use a super chat also in the comment in this chat right here, and I'll make sure I stop what I'm doing and make sure we answer your question as well. If you've asked a question over on Patreon, those are the ones we prioritize because we like to make sure that you get your questions answered. You can go to patreon.com/DylanTalksTone and be a part of that. We're going to talk about that more because I got some really cool stuff happening over there too. First question. I have a cheap Firefly ES335 type guitar. So like an ES335 copy. Very cool. The humbuckers are quite microphonic. I believe it's mostly the chrome covers that are the cause. They otherwise sound great. Would simply removing the covers alleviate the biggest problem? Probably. They probably would get rid of most of the problem. Cheaper humbuckers, though, sometimes can just be a lot of loose parts. So before you take the covers off, try this. First of all, flip them over underneath and make sure that the screws that retain the base plate to the pickup are tight. Then, before you put them back in the guitar, grab a blow dryer. I know this sounds ridiculous, but grab a blow dryer and heat that baby up as hot as you can and still hold on to it. Like, you won't do it any damage with a blow dryer. I wouldn't use a heat gun unless you're if you use a heat gun, use common sense with how hot you get it. Like, if it's hot, so hot that you can barely hold on to it, that's probably hot enough. Our hands can probably take like 150 degrees or so, 140 degrees, something like that. That's enough to melt the wax. What I'm getting at is you could reseat whatever wax has come apart. So sometimes what will happen is a pickup, as it gets older, the wax can actually shrink, and then it will kind of like pop loose and it'll allow a gap in there, and it'll cause that feedback problem. So what you can do is heat it back up with a blow dryer or a heat gun, being careful not to melt anything. But like I said, if you hold it in your hand's going to tell you when it's too hot before anything else. So then you can go ahead and give it some heat, see if you can reseat some of that wax, and then put that thing back in your guitar. If not, then you can, try to repot it or whatever. But that's a free thing that you can do. I've actually seen a lot of guys, and I've suggested this in a video before, if you take the cover off, just like take your pocket knife, and just like shred some candle wax in there, put the thing down on it, and then heat it up with a heat gun or a something hot, like I said, like a blow dryer. Heat gun probably for that though, and you'll just feel it kind of smoosh back down, and then solder the cover back on, and a lot of times you can alleviate a lot of that noise. Super cool question. Brian on Patreon had a question that was a follow-up to this. I have an excellent follow-up to that one. I'm sure he'll want to know. We both have hollow or semi-hollow guitars that came from inexpensive origins with no rear access and are likely not shielded correctly. How does one resolve the shielding in that scenario? Honestly, semi-hollow guitars are really difficult to shield because you can't get inside them, right? However, if you have humbuckers, I'm not going to say there's no reason to shield it, but there's a couple of things that will happen with noise in guitars. Pots can get noisy because they can, as they start to wear out. So if you have good pots, and humbuckers don't really make that much noise anyway. I wouldn't really worry about shielding if it doesn't make noise. I'm going to tell you a little truth here. I don't shield like hardly any of my guitars. I just don't, because I don't think noise is that big of a deal. But that's just me. That's just an opinion. Somebody says also, nab a pair of DAFs, you'll be happier. Yeah, our humbuckers are really quiet. So if you want a vintage style tone, that way. Let's see. Rufus asks on Patreon, I was checking the continuity of a humbucker, and I had one that didn't have any continuity at any point of connection. Is this normal? No. You should have continuity across at least 2 of the 4 wires at some point. So if you have a 4-wire humbucker, these 2 wires are one coil, these 2 wires are the other coil. If you do not have continuity at any point, something is definitely wrong with that humbucker, and you'll want to check it out. Let's see, a couple more questions here. Is it true that active pickups use less windings? And is it true that active pickups have less dynamic range? I'm going to leave this comment for a video that I've got coming up specifically about this. But what I will tell you is that it's one of the reasons why they have batteries, is because they are lower impedance, which is different than resistance. We'll get into that in another video. But yes, does making a normally solid body guitar a thin line affect anything besides weight? See, so here's where all the tone wood argument stuff comes into play. It's the more air you put into a guitar, and the more you vibrate the pickups, other than just the strings vibrating, the more you're going to affect the sound. So, yeah, I mean, a 335 is going to sound different than a, what is that thing called? Like, they have a solid body 335 and they have a hollow body 335. I can't remember what the solid one is called, like a high something. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, yeah, the 2 guitars, exactly the same. One's hollow, one's not. They are going to sound different for sure, because what you're doing is you're moving the pickup a lot more. And so when you move the pickup in relation to the string and it's going like this instead of the string just going like this, it's going to affect the sound for sure. Let's see. I'm looking at modifying my Epiphone Dot And I'm wondering if it's possible to wire a humbucker out of phase with itself versus out of phase with another pickup. Okay, so here's an interesting thing about out of phase stuff. You can wire two pickups out of phase, okay? That is correct. So, like let's say you take a telly and you wire two single coils out of phase, and the pickups are about this far apart, right? But remember that phasing, there's electronic phase, there's magnetic phase, and then there's also where the pickups are in the nodes and antinodes along the string. So the closer together a pickup is, the more it's gonna cancel out. I did a video on this a long time ago with a cigar box guitar that I had, where I had a humbucker and I wired them out of phase from each other. It's so thin and quiet that it's barely usable. But as you take those pickups and you move them further apart, it becomes more usable. So I would not, I mean, you could try it if you wanted to, but wiring two coils that are next to each other out of phase from each other is definitely going to give you a completely different experience than just wiring like two Strat pickups out of phase from each other, because of the distance apart they are and where they fall in the nodes versus antinodes along the string. That's a really good question, a very interesting one. But just remember that the closer they are together, the more sound you're going to cancel out. And it's almost going to be, it's not going to be silent, but it's really going to be super quacky. And there's not going to be any bottom end left in it. It's going to sound really bad, actually. Really super cool. Let's see. Let me grab a couple more of these, and then we will get on to some really exciting stuff. Oh, here we go. On my Strat, I switched from regular string trees to roller string trees. The rollers are actually a little taller than the original string trees, so they don't put as much tension on the strings, downward pressure. Will that have an effect on anything? The only time you got to worry about that is if you start to have any kind of ghost notes or any sort of ringing or buzzing. The reason you have string trees on a Fender guitar is because that peg head is not tilted back, right? And so that level is not as much. And so if the string break angle is not steep enough going over the nut, then like your high E and your B will start to buzz a little bit. Here's another thing where I kind of go against the norm here, and I use staggered tuning keys so that I don't have to use string trees. And if I don't use string trees, then it's less friction, tuning stability, etc. But if you have ghosting, and what I mean by that is if you hit the string and it gives you that like, gives you this weird kind of sound, or if it starts to buzz at all, it just means that you don't have as much tension down and you're going to need some more. So yeah, super cool. Let's see. New Zealand. Can you do your Monday videos at like 9 instead of 7? So actually I do them at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to talk about timing of stuff in a little bit because I do want to make this more accessible. Put in the comments if you think we need to bump it later an hour. If that would help you, let me know, because we could do that. That would be fine with me. Do you have a suggestion for an affordable indoor vent filter system for soldering? Tell you the truth, I don't. They do make a couple of soldering stations that actually have vents in them. Personally, I just use, I'm in a motorhome now, so I literally have, it's like this thing is built to ventilate. So, there's windows behind me, there's one across, and then I have an exhaust fan in the ceiling. Like, I have super ventilation, so I don't really have to, worry about it so much anymore. Just what I would recommend is just make sure you have something that flows across your desk. Solder smoke is weird. Like, it's gonna go in your face no matter what, unless you put some positive pressure on it going one way, or you put some negative pressure pulling away from you. And probably pulling away from you is going to be more effective. What I would say there is you could even get like a little PC fan, like a little computer fan, one of those, even those little personal fans. And what I would tell you is don't blow it towards you. Put it next to your work and have it blowing away from you so that it's literally sucking the solder away from you. A lot of people will want to put a fan in front of themselves and say, I'm blowing it away from me, but you're actually blowing it in your face. So you want to flip it around and have it actually suck kind of across your desk and away from you. Yeah, super cool. Let's just go through a few of these real quick. And I think we're pretty much caught up. Okay. So, we're going to get to that in a second. One of the things I want to talk to you about that I'm really, really excited about. If you go to our patreon.com/DylanTalksTone, I have started another level there. Okay. And what we're doing is I'm structuring this. We have gotten so many requests for more personalized classes to learn how to do things like set up your guitar, do small repairs, set your action, like really in-depth, really detailed stuff that's very difficult to put in a video. And a lot of times what'll happen is we'll make a video and it'll explain things pretty well, but since every guitar is a little bit different and your guitar might be a little different than the one I use in the video, then you have a bunch of questions like, well, how do I apply that to my guitar? So in order to kind of take this whole Dylan Talks Tone thing to the next level, I've been trying to figure out a way to literally have a class, like literally have a classroom with people in it. And I'm not going to call anybody students because we all do this. We all love guitar stuff. But what I want to do is I want to put it into, it's going to be at least an hour. I would guess if we have a couple of beers and we're working on guitars and talking about guitars, it's going to go longer than that, right? Once a month. And we are going to limit the first class size. I think I limited it to 15 people. So the way you do it is you go over to patreon.com. Here, I'll just put this in right here. And what we're going to do is literally we're going to have a Zoom. When you join that level Patreon, you'll see it there. When you join that level on Patreon, we will then send you an email once a month. As long as you're still a member at that level, we will send you an email that will give you a Zoom link. And we're going to use Zoom. And then we're going to be able to, all of us just be in Brady Bunch squares on the computer. You'll be able to have your guitar there. We're going to give you a tool list, suggested tools to have available. And we're going to do classes. And we're going to send out an email once a month that's going to say this is what the next class is about. So you don't even have to subscribe all the time. What if you're not interested in action? And what if maybe in a couple months we start talking about soldering? Now, of course, I want you to be there all the time. And I'd like to grow this. But let's say you get the email and you say, oh, this is a month that I want to see because I want to learn how to solder, or I want to learn how to set the action on my guitar, or I want to learn how to, we're going to talk about specific wiring diagrams. We're going to do all the things that it's more difficult to do on the YouTube channel and get really specific. The fun part about it is if you have a webcam, you can even use your phone. So if you have a webcam or a cell phone that you can use this on, and you put it on your little tripod like I have here, and you got your guitar, and all your tools, and you're going to be able to work on your guitar while I'm working on my guitar. You're going to be able to raise your hand and say, hey, I have a question. Can you help me with this? I don't know what you just said. Can we one-on-one, literally, 1 on 15, of course. That's why I want to kind of limit it at first and see how it goes. There's a little feature there that you can raise your hand and say, hey, I have a question. It's all built into the software, super easy. And then we'll be able to just hang out, work on guitars, and really get into the nitty gritty of stuff that sometimes I have to stay more general on the YouTube channel because I can't fit it all into one video, you know what I mean? So I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited about it. I've been trying to figure out a way to institute this, some sort of class thing. And, you know, of course, since all this coronavirus thing started up, I've been using Zoom a lot more for some other meetings that I've been having and stuff, and, you know, even worship meetings through Zoom and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I think this is something that we could employ and use Patreon as a way to structure it all, and an email that you would get in your email that I think would be super cool. Let me know what you guys think about that. You know? Yeah, because we could talk all about all kinds of stuff. So go over to that Patreon thing, check it out. What I want to do, I've not scheduled the time yet. What I'm going to do is, I don't care if there's only one person. I'm showing up, okay? I'll just tell you that for sure. If only one person says, hey, I want to do it this month, me and you, one-on-one, we're gonna hang out for an hour and we're gonna work on your guitar and my guitar and we're gonna learn some stuff. The cool part about it too is we're gonna record it and then we're gonna have, there's gonna be, for the patrons that are part of this, there's gonna be a way that you're gonna be able to watch it all in, you know, archive basically, so that you'll be able to all have that. So yeah, man. Let me know what you think. I'm really super excited about it. And yeah, we'll excuse me, we'll get into polishing frets. We'll get into some more advanced stuff too. Neck angles, stuff like that. And what I'm going to do is we're going to break it down to where every month we're going to handle a subject that's kind of a little bit more in depth. Like the first one's literally just going to be neck relief. But when we get really dive deep into neck relief, and so that you can really understand it and really be able to start to troubleshoot. It's not just stick an Allen wrench in there and turn it a quarter and turn until it's right. There's a lot of things to understand how it is the basis for the rest of your guitar playing. I call it establishing the playing surface, and then everything else happens after that. And there's things, it'll take an hour, right? And then understanding how it applies to your personal guitar that you'll have right there with you, and we'll all have this conversation together. I'm really, 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 really excited about it. It's something that I've been, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. If you're watching this in replay and you're not seeing it right now, you know, in live, I mean, not you all are here live, but there are a lot of people that'll watch this afterwards. Let me know what you think, man. I'm super stoked, and let me know what you want to hear. Like, hey, I want a class on XYZ. I want a class on whatever. And the cool part is, if it's something I don't know, chances are I'll be able to get somebody to come and collaborate with us on the thing and be able to really teach you something. If it's something I don't feel comfortable sharing, you know, I don't know everything. So if I don't, let me get somebody that knows it, and we'll really dive into this stuff. You know, so I'm super stoked about it. I'll tell you what. So I'm going to share this comment with you. Somebody just commented, I have an IQ of 170. You are ignorant and you only care about money. You treat the viewers as if we were stupid, and you censor, blocking all those whom tell the truth. You are not an effing teacher. The reason I read that comment out loud is because there's something really important in it that I want to mention. I have gotten accused of blocking people in the past. I do not do that. The reason you all are not seeing that comment is because YouTube actually does it. YouTube doesn't let profanity through. They don't let external links through. There's a few things they don't let through. So that's not me. if my audience sees somebody who is being ignorant and hateful, and that does make it through, it does a couple things. One, it breaks down the whole community that we're building here. We're trying to build a community that we're enjoying this together, number one. And number two, I don't want it ever to be a spot where people are attacking each other in the comments. You know what I mean? Like, that's not any fun. So I just want to mention that we don't block people. Yeah, we don't block people. I don't do that. Let's see. Yeah, wiring options. Yeah, so I want to build. We can even solder some different wiring stuff up. I've gotten a lot of requests for like alternate wirings on Telecasters, Strats, stuff like that, and that's all stuff that we can share, and I can share with you. And like I said, if I don't know, I'll find somebody who does, and they can, you know, and they can be a part of it. So anyway, that was the main, well, it's not the main thing. The main thing is over here. So I tell you what do you say we open this guitar? It literally showed up about an hour before we started this live thing. And on top of that, as I'm opening the box, you all know there's a guitar in here. And we're going to give it away when we hit 40,000 subscribers. That is true. That's for sure going to happen. This guitar is going to go to somebody in the United States. I apologize, but I do not have the resources to ship a guitar globally. It is so expensive. I have to ship a guitar to Eastern Europe in the next couple months, and it's going to cost like $400. So a custom build that I'm doing for somebody. So it's really, really expensive. So I don't have the resources to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this guitar away in the United States. Now remember, this guitar is only $299. At the same time, what we're going to do is we're going to give away, I think I'm going to let the person choose, but we're going to give you a set of tools to work on your guitar, okay? And then we're also going to give you, I'm going to basically let you pick anything off my website. So basically, a set of pickups, a loaded pick guard. Do you want pickups and wiring? You know, do you have a telly that you like want to totally redo all the wiring and pickups? Do you have a Strat that you like totally want to redo? And I'm just going to just let you pick, and you're going to be able to, you know, we might set it at like, I don't know. Well, the guitar's $300, so let's say $300. You can pick whatever you want, and I'll make it for you, and I'll ship it anywhere in the world. And we're going to give you a set of tools that you can work on it yourself and do all that stuff. So yeah, you know. Anyway, let me get this guitar out. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's a box inside a box. I actually don't know if it came with a case or not. I don't know anything about it. I haven't even opened it. This is literally, my wife is like, do you want to open it ahead of time and make sure that it's good? I'm like, nope, we're going to just open it together. It's a box inside a box inside a box. Well, at least we know it's going to ship well. If you're wondering, I bought it at Zounds. Zounds is my favorite place. I like Sweetwater too. I actually bought I bought something at Sweetwater last week. But Zounds they've been really good to me, and sometimes I use their, you know, they've got their credit thing. So we've got a set of tools to work on the guitar. And crap. Hang on one second. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry about that. I was getting a mail delivery. All right. So yeah, I really like sounds a lot. I'm really excited about this. Kind of taking everything to the next level. Super excited. Hang on one second.
Check the mail first.
Oh, thanks. It's my father-in-law dropping off our mail. All right. This is going to be cool. Are you not excited? I am super excited. Paperwork, guitar. All right, so let's talk about this guitar. This is a Gretsch. I think this is called a Junior Jet. It's a solid body. It's a NATO body, which, so NATO, N-A-T-O, not like the military stuff, but like a wood. NATO is very similar to, it's a sort of mahogany. It's not in the same family as mahogany, but people compare it to mahogany a lot. The guitar weighs, if I could guess, probably 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds, something like that. It probably weighs about as much as a Tele. It's got one volume, it's got one tone, and it's got the Gretsch, I guess they call them Broadtrons or something. We're gonna do, of course, we'll do a full in-depth video. Those aren't real Filtertrons, those are just fake humbuck. They're just fake Filtertrons that look like humbuckers. They're humbuckers that look like Filtertrons. It's got a compensated wraparound bridge, which I know a lot of people are going to make a big deal about, but we're going to show you why that's not a big deal. It's got a painted neck, bolt-on. Dude, this thing is cool. It's a pretty color too. Let's see. It's got I've never even seen one of these in person, so I'm discovering this right along with you. You know, the tuners aren't terrible. We're probably going to replace them just for the sake of doing it. Crafted in Indonesia. Of course, it's not in tune. Dude, this is cool. Remember when I got the $199 guitar out of the package and like the frets were going to like cut my hands off? It absolutely does not. Yeah, man. Super cool. Tortoise pick guard. Yeah, we'll make this thing into something real trick. We'll probably do our version of a set of humbuckers for it. I don't know. What do you think? I don't want to drill any holes in it. I want it to be all original looking. So we're not going to like put more knobs on it or anything. But what do you think? What do you think we should do? We could maybe do a, if I have room in here, maybe we could do a push-pull to maybe do a master coil split. We could add that. It's just a volume and a tone and a three-way switch, so we could probably do something like that. Replace the tuners. This is actually more of a basic setup of a guitar than the last one that we did. So, yeah. So here's how you win it. We haven't talked about that. Here's how you win any of this stuff. You go to DylanContest.com. So here, I'm going to put this in. I think I put it in the comments of this video. DylanContest.com. So you go there, you put your email address in, and it's going to send you an email to confirm it. Make sure you do that so that you're on the list. And then what we're going to do, as soon as we hit 40,000 subscribers, we're going to randomly choose. We'll dump that list into a randomizer. I might even do it live. We'll dump that into a randomizer. On that form, it says what country you're from and what your YouTube handle is. Because the two things, you got to sign up, you got to tell me where you're from so I know what I'm giving you, and you have to be subscribed to the channel with the bell notification on. So I have to know, obviously, So you got to give me your YouTube channel handle so I can check it. Ooh, a set of P90s, a set of humbucker size P90s, right? You're onto something there, Holmes. That's killer. That is killer. I'm excited about that. That's a great idea. DAFs would be cool. Yeah, man. This is a cool guitar. Simple, but I think we can make it into something that really, really rocks. I love the little, I don't know what they call them, like the little thumbnail half round fret markers. Boy, when you go from 199 to 299, the quality of the guitar jumps up a lot. I don't know how good the fretwork is yet because I have not done any work to it, but the setup out of the box looks pretty good. I am not set up right now with the live situation to play the guitar and demo it for you. Monday's video will be a full run through of this thing with sound, and we'll come up with a plan and all that sort of stuff. So Monday's video coming up, this coming Monday, I will probably shoot it tomorrow. Tomorrow or Saturday. We're all staying home, so I have plenty of time. So I will shoot this, and then we will put this up Monday, and that way you'll know what the demo stuff is. So DylanContest.com. Go sign up to win it. Tell everybody. And for the next probably 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to use this thing, do a couple of videos about it, etc., post about it, that sort of stuff. And then we're going to give it away. So let's go ahead and go through some of these here comments. And if you have any other questions, this is just me and you hanging out right now. Let's see. Yep, it's a junior jet. Again, I'm sorry. Sometimes I miss your comments because they come through here so quick. They have a natural wood one. I know I was gonna get that, but I don't like natural wood, so I'll tell you a funny story about the contest, or about the survey. The longer I left it, the more even it got, and it ended up being, as you saw, probably 50-50 blue versus gold. And I was like, well, the last guitar we did was blue, so let's do a gold one. And let's see. Do you sell real Filtertrons on your website? Absolutely, we do. The wait for them is typically a little bit longer because I order the parts when I need them. We do not sell very many of those. Our Filtertrons are amazing. That being said, they're not cheap, and so we don't stock a lot of the parts for them. So it takes about 3 weeks or so to get a set made and sent out to you. Dylan's gonna get arrested on a live stream. That's funny. Let's see. Please don't make it a guitar that's only good for metal. I don't think so, right? I mean, that guitar is like totally not metal. We have a metal guitar already. We have the Schecter C1 with the Floyd that we're gonna go ahead and put those. I got some EMGs coming for it that we're gonna give away, and I've also got some Fishman Fluences that we're gonna give away. Let's see. YouTube handle. It just means whatever your name is on YouTube. So if your name is whatever your name is on YouTube, that's it. That way I can just look at my list and see that you're subscribed. That's all. It's just the, you know, whatever your YouTube name is. Very, very cool. Yeah, dude, if I take longer than 2 weeks to make something, it really, really bugs me. I will tell you that we are so busy right now that we are getting into 3 week territory, and it does start to bother me a little bit. We are very, very busy. So if you do want something, make sure you reach out to me because it's getting crazy, which I'm super stoked about. What about a Bigsby? What about it? I am all in. If you want to do a Bigsby, I am all in. I love Bigsby's. And this thing, it's just dying to have some holes drilled in it. What about a Bigsby? We could slap a B5 on here, throw a roller bridge on it. Oh my God. Now you're talking. I know it's a lot of money, but what do you think? I'll put that up for consideration. Okay, so we got a super chat came in. Thanks so much, Brian. I appreciate that. I just got a new Gretsch with a Bigsby. Besides using it gently, how do you keep a Bigsby in tune? Well, maybe we need to do some videos about that. So, and we're actually probably going to do one of those classes about that too. The thing about Bigsby's is friction. You just want to lower friction. Bigsby's will stay in tune. The only thing is you want to make sure that the nut is cut correctly. I'm just going to go through the real basic stuff. And then we're at 5:42. We're like 42 minutes in, so I'll let you go here in just a minute. But you want to keep friction down at the nut, so you want to have a good nut. So I personally would use like a tusk nut on a guitar with a Bigsby to keep everything kind of slick. The other thing is don't pin down any of the Bigsby bridges. So some of those Bigsby bridges are meant to move a little bit and allow that string, those strings to move back and forth. Like a Sorkin bow tie, for example. A roller bridge does help. It's not my favorite option, but it does help. And then the other thing that you want to do, and people don't think about this a lot, is you want to take the strings off of the guitar, okay? The next time you string it, take the strings off the guitar, and I want you to take that lever, the Bigsby lever, and I want you to like flop it back and forth. And if that Bigsby stops at any point, right? Like it doesn't just flop. I mean, you want it to go, like you want it to flop. Like it's super loose. If it doesn't do that, then a lot of times what happens is it's twisted. So you'll have like 2 screws here, and there'll be 2 screws here. Loosen up. There's little foam pads on the bottom of the Bigsby. And if you loosen up one of the screws, like a quarter of a turn, in the direction that you think that thing might be bound, because the Bigsby won't sit 100% flat against most guitars. Now this one it will because it's a flat guitar, but most guitars it won't. And if there's a little twist in it, then that Bigsby won't flop back and forth. That's added friction, and that literally doesn't allow your guitar to turn to pitch, to return to pitch. So you want to make sure that you don't have your Bigsby in a bind. There's usually 2 screws in the back. There's usually one kind of like here and then one kind of like here. And you want to make sure that those aren't putting the Bigsby in a twist, because that can happen. Okay. Those are just a couple of basic examples of how to keep one in tune. Yeah. Awesome. A Bigsby without a Gretsch without a Bigsby is no Gretsch at all. Oh, dude. I'm with you. I am with you. The other trim options. I don't understand why a Bigsby is still a thing. Dude, Bigsby's are amazing. They really are. We could do a like a Duesenberg Latrem, but they're so, which would work on here, but they're just so expensive. Actually, a Latrem wouldn't work on here. We would have to do a Bigsby on this one. It's not a whammy bar. It's a vibrato. There's a difference. See, that's the other thing. You don't have to be Steve Vai to use a Bigsby, right? Like, remember how he would like grab it and do all this crazy stuff? That's not what a Bigsby is for. Bigsby is subtlety. Bigsbys are a subtle vibrato. That's what they're for. They are not a whammy bar. Like, nothing really is a whammy bar. I can't stand that term, but especially a Bigsby. It's a nuanced thing, man. That's what they're for, and that's what I really like about them. Put a poker chip on the switch. Oh, I don't like poker chips. I don't even like them on Gibsons. So I'll give you a little insight here. I am fully against screws and any extraneous hardware that is. I don't like hardware. Oh, that's a good idea. Bigsby versus Jazzmaster. Jazzmasters work really well too. Again, the other problem with people have with Jazzmasters is they don't set them up right. A real Jazzmaster bridge is supposed to wiggle, and a lot of people take that wiggle out. They don't set it up correctly, so it doesn't move back and forth, which is another friction causing situation. So yeah, man. Right on, you guys. Thanks so much. This has been super fun. So check out the Patreon thing. Let me know what you think, and make sure you go to the link in the description for the DylanContest.com. If you are a global user, make sure that you do that too, because I want to include you, man. I want to include you. So yeah, this is so fun. And if you're interested in having a little class, let me know. I'm super stoked on it. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And yeah, man, this is super fun. Thanks for hanging out. This has been a good one. Make sure you follow and subscribe and do all that stuff. And be safe. I know that stuff is supposed to be opening back up. Make sure you do whatever's best for your family, and be as safe as you can out there. And Monday we will have a video featuring this guitar, and let me know what you think of it. Continue to put in the comments. I know that the feed, this feed will go away, but the comments on this video and then the one on Monday, make sure that you let me know what you think we should do with this thing. I'm super excited about it. It's really, really cool. I didn't mention the tailpiece. Well, it doesn't have one. It just has a wraparound bridge. Yeah. So, yeah. Awesome, man. Thanks for hanging out. You guys have been awesome, and I do appreciate it. Just make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, do all the stuff, and make sure that you comment. You got to comment too on all these videos, you know, where we do it. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. This has been cool. Give you another close up before we let go. Gold, Tort, Mother of Pearl. That's a proper Gretsch, man. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see y'all later.